Welcome to the Become a Media Maven podcast. If I sound a little different today, that is because I am recording this episode from Nova Scotia, Canada. I am here for a few weeks. This is where my husband is from, so we come up here for a few weeks every summer. And I did not bring my microphone that I usually use, so I'm just using my Apple AirPods. So hopefully you can work with me and this audio sounds a-okay for the podcast. I also want to let you know that I have just hit schedule on my newsletter that is going out this Thursday. So if you're listening to this in real time, you are listening to this on Tuesday, June 27th. This Thursday, I am sending out a newsletter that is all about how to get into Oprah Daily. I am sharing pitches they're accepting, the email to send the pitch, and I am also sharing how you can get paid to contribute to Oprah Daily, and also some tips on how you can make your pitch stand out even more. So if you are not already subscribed to my newsletter, I will link to that in the show notes for this episode, or you can just head to mediamavenandmore.com/newsletter. Again, that is coming out on Thursday in just 2 days if you listen to this when it goes live on Tuesday, June 27th. I want to give a shout out to Dave Wakeman. He left me a 5-star rating and review, and he said, I listen to every episode. For a business podcast, this is one of the most useful and informative ones I've found in a long time. Christina does a great job of making the episodes actionable and informative. Thank you very much, Dave Wakeman. I appreciate your 5-star rating and your review. And I hope that motivates you to pitch the media. And if you're not motivated yet, I think this episode will do it, because I am sharing some myths about the PR industry that keep you a best kept secret. Now, the public relations industry, it often falls victim to several myths and misconceptions that contribute to you being a best kept secret. And I know there's a lot of gray area when it comes to PR. There's a lot of people saying crazy things on the internet, so I can understand why you may believe things that just aren't true. But these things are holding you back from pitching to the media because maybe you think you're not ready for XYZ reason, or you're not big enough. Whatever the excuse, I am going to bust 5 myths right now. The first one, PR is only for big corporations. Now, this is a big one. And the myth is that PR is only for large corporations with big budgets. Now, in reality, it can be valuable for businesses of any sizes, including startups, small businesses, solopreneurs. It really doesn't matter how big you are when it comes to earning coverage. Now, paying for it, yes, that matters because you need a budget. But remember, we're not paying for coverage. Anybody can earn it. PR, it helps build your brand awareness regardless of your company's size or industry. The only time it matters in earning coverage is if the story is about how big you are, or how much money you bring in, or how big your team is. If the story is specifically about that topic, then yes, it matters. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be pitching those topics anyway. You're not going to be responding to a query about those topics. So it doesn't matter how big you are. Myth number 2, PR is just about getting media coverage. Now, I know that this is something that I talk about a lot, and that's because the media portion of public relations is what we focus on at Media Maven, since our team is made up of former members of the media. But there is a lot more to PR. Media coverage, yes, it's a crucial aspect of PR, but it's not the sole focus. It encompasses a broader range of activities like reputation management, crisis communication is a big one. There's community relations, different kind of communication planning. Content creation is a big one. We're doing more of that at Media Maven. Hosting events. The list goes on. There's a lot under the PR umbrella, but again, we just focus on the media portion in terms of getting you in the news and now creating content to help get you in the news and to help drive people to your website. So PR professionals, they work to create and maintain positive relationships between their business and the public. There are a variety of ways to do this. So it's not just about getting media coverage. There's a lot more to it than that. That's why you may see some PR agencies only focus on events, or some PR agencies like ours only focus on the media portion of it. If you watched, I think it was The Hills. I don't think it was Laguna Beach. I think we were at the Hills portion of Laguna Beach at this point. And Heidi got a job at PR agency. I don't remember the name of it. Maybe it was Bolt PR. All she did was events. And that was because that is what that PR agency focused on. They didn't really focus on the media coverage portion of it. Now, again, these all work together. For example, one of our clients at Media Maven is Midas, the car care company. And we help them with grand openings. We help them with giving cars away. And when we plan those events, like giving a car away for their nonprofit portion of the company called Project Spark, we will have our publicists promote that because that's a great news story, somebody in need getting a car. So these can work together, but it's not just about the media coverage. Number 3, PR is all about spin and manipulation. I hate this myth. I think it's because I come from news and I feel like news gets a bad rap, especially since the term fake news started being used and people were watching opinion shows on a news network thinking it was news, but they were actually watching people sharing their opinion and it wasn't actually news. And anybody can get online or even on TV now and say anything. This happens with news. So by default, I feel like it happens with PR. PR professionals, they are not focused on manipulating the truth or spinning narratives to serve their clients' interests. Obviously, they want to promote their client in the best light, but you have to be transparent, you have to be authentic, and you have to have open communication. If you don't, a journalist will not work with you. And that is critical to earning media coverage. So there are some PR agencies that solely focus on crisis communication. And those will cost more than your agency that focuses just on earning coverage in the media. Because crisis communication, it's a hell of a lot more work and it's a bigger headache. So when you see businesses getting bad publicity because maybe their CEO did something bad, or we've heard that this is a negative work environment for XYZ reason, that's where crisis communication comes into play. And they're not going to spin and manipulate the facts. They're going to try to defend their client or explain what happened or rectify, repair, whatever the situation is. So it's not about spin and manipulation. I feel like that may be more so believed on the crisis communication side. But like, listen, if you are an expert in cooking healthy meals and you're going to pitch a story idea about how to cook a healthy meal for a 4th of July get together, nobody's thinking you're spinning and manipulating that story. That's just ridiculous. So I just want to bust that myth. If you look at stories and you think that's what it is, 9 times out of 10, it's probably not true. Number 4, PR results are hard to measure. Now, some people believe that outcomes are intangible and difficult to measure, and this is a challenge. I will say it is challenging to attribute specific results solely to media efforts, but there are some metrics and tools available to assess the impact of PR campaigns. Now, I've shared some recently on my social media at Christina All Day if you're not following me. These can include things like media impressions, your website traffic, your social media engagement, if you survey your audience. And this is the thing. I like to think about earning media as word of mouth or referrals. We all know that it's hard to measure word of mouth or referrals, but we also know that's the best way to grow anything. So you cannot ignore word of mouth or referrals or media coverage just because you can't measure it, as well as you can measure things like Google AdWords or social media advertising. And something that drives me crazy is when we talk to, as somebody who's a CEO of a PR agency, we talk to potential clients and they want specific KPIs on measurement. Like, listen, we'll do our best, but it's hard to give you specifics. So, for example, I could get you written up in Reader's Digest, and we could get a backlink, and you can track the traffic that comes from that backlink. But if it's in print and it's on the news shelves, we don't know how many people that's going to bring in unless every single person who interacts with your brand says, oh, I found you through this magazine that I got at the grocery store, which you know is not going to happen. So, yes, the results can be challenging to attribute, but they work. Something I always try to tell my clients is, listen, before you start working with a publicist or practicing PR on your own, Google yourself, Google your company, and check out the results. After 3 months, do it again. After 6 months, do it again. Are you more visible? Are you getting more attention? If you're doing this correctly, the answer should be yes. And that is something that tells you, hey, what you're doing is working. You are more visible, you're getting more attention. And that obviously turns into leads. If you treat those leads right, that's going to turn into sales. That's going to build your business. Number 5, the last myth about the PR industry that will keep you a best kept secret is that PR is an unnecessary expense. Now, some businesses will view public relations or media relations as something that is a nice to have instead of a necessity. But this is the thing. Public relations plays a crucial role in shaping the public perception of you. It is the only way to build credibility and authority because this is other people telling their audience that you are known, liked, and trusted. That's the only way to do it because you're not spending money for this and it's not you telling other people that. This is what differentiates you from your competitors. You get a competitive edge, you attract new customers, you strengthen relationships with people. You may be on somebody's radar and they're not ready to pull the trigger, but then they see you here and there. And a couple of weeks or months later, they see you again. That is how you strengthen a relationship. That is how you strengthen that credibility and that authority. That is what drives business growth and success. I say this is always the foundation because people can't do business with you if they don't know about you. And this is the attention that gets you known. And then eventually, when you are showing up on people's feeds or in their ear or on TV at different times with different little nuggets of your expertise, that is what gets you known, liked, and trusted, and when people will pull the trigger to work with you. So I hope by dispelling these myths, you recognize the actual value of PR and media relations, and you are ready to start pitching your expertise and the positive impact that it can have on your reputation, your visibility, your overall success. It can be business changing for sure. So if you want to get started for free and you haven't taken my hour-long masterclass, just join at earnmedianow.com. You can also check that link out in the show notes. Everything I've mentioned will be in the show notes. So head to becomeamediamaven.com to get all of this information. But I will link to my free hour-long masterclass that will give you a great foundation to start pitching yourself. And then if you want a little bit more, then you can get into my bootcamp. It's just $37. It used to be 3 days when I ran it live. But listen, it is on demand now, people. You can do it in just 3 hours. So go to pitchpublicityprofit.com to access that. And of course, I always have my media mentoring program. It has it all from start to finish. I designed it to be a 10-week program. If you want to do this at your own pace with one module a week, it is a 10-week program that teaches you everything you need to know, comes with accountability as you execute. And this is designed, again, to bring PR in-house, to teach you how to be your own publicist, to train a VA on your team to be a publicist for you. And you can get that at MediaMentoringProgram.com. I am your accountability partner. I have a private support community. I am the only admin in it. You can chat with other people in your position, other people doing PR for themselves or for an employer, but I am the person in there answering questions, sharing media opportunities on a regular basis. And then I also mentioned my newsletter in this episode. I have a great one coming up if you are listening to this in real time about how to get an Oprah Daily. I hope that by dispelling these myths, you are ready to pitch Oprah Daily. So make sure you join my newsletter. Again, you can do that at mediamavenandmore.com/newsletter. For anything about the podcast, anytime, go to becomeamediamaven.com. That's where all the show notes are. And make sure you tap that subscribe button, that follow button. Leave me a positive rating or a review. I would appreciate it. And maybe I will read your rating or review on a future episode of Become a Media Maven.